He sounds pleased on Twitter this morning with the Supreme Court's ruling. Very simple tweet from the president. Supreme Court upholds Trump travel ban. Wow. So I want to make sure that we understand which travel ban that we're talking about here, because of course there have been many iterations of this. So we're talking about the third version of the travel ban. It was issued in September of 2017, of course, after the first and the second, and had a series of challenges. It restricts entry from 7 countries: Iran, Iraq, Chad, Libya, North Korea, Syria, Venezuela, also Yemen. So the predominant challenge here had been that the president didn't have the authority to issue a travel ban like this. Of course, people had also argued, our state had argued, basically that it was racist, that the president was racist towards Muslims, and that was the reason for all of these travel bans in the first place. The ACLU issuing a blistering response to the decision from the Supreme Court, saying that it is not the first time the court has been wrong or has allowed official racism and xenophobia to continue rather than standing up to it. History has its eyes on us and will judge today's decision harshly. We are also getting a look at the dissent here. Justice Sonia Sotomayor is among those who did not agree. It was a 5-4 decision, so 4 were not in favor of the president. Justice Sotomayor saying that she believes that based on evidence on the record, so statements made by the president, actions taken by the president, that she believes, this is a quote, "a reasonable observer would conclude that the proclamation was motivated by anti-Muslim animus." So a very close decision from the Supreme Court. Certainly you have justices who believed that the president did this out of animus for Muslims, but the majority of justices siding with the president and dismissing the main argument, which is they believe this was in the scope of his authority under the Immigration and Nationality Act, the INA.
So this was a 90-day travel ban, wasn't it? So that was months ago. So what happens now with this situation? When
we look at the impact of the Supreme Court ruling, I think it's more important to look at what are the long-term impacts, because these travel bans had always naturally had an expiration, right? That was the point of them in the first place. But long-term implications, now that the Supreme Court has said, yes, Mr. President, you have the authority to do something like this, something you believe is in the national security interests of the country, could the president move to make something like this more permanent or longer lasting? And what other types of bans or restrictions to entry into the United States could the president make by saying, hey, I'm making this, and the Supreme Court has said that I have the authority to do this? So I think we look at the implications, as with many Supreme Court decisions, the long-term implications that they could have, not only for this president, but for future presidents.
Absolutely.